Welcome to Three Mums Podcast, hosted by Natalie, Anthea, and Charlene. This is a space where you'll get nothing but real conversation. This is your moment to pause, have a laugh, get involved, and come on our journey. Open, honest, and free always. Hashtag the Three Mums Way. I can't lie, I'm feeling good.
You look good.
You know why? Because I pretty much lost my baby weight. I already talked about it on my birthday post for those that follow me on Insta. And Nats knows that I don't really big up myself the way I should.
No, you don't big up yourself really at all.
Is it really that bad?
Yes. Like, celebrate the fact that, you'll say it and you'll be like, you say it, but you kind of bit, humble with it. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate yourself. Like, it's an amazing thing.
Do you know what? There's a root to that.
Yeah.
And definitely, I won't go into it, but the root's definitely just like things that people have said in the past. But we're not going to go into that. I have pretty much lost my baby weight.
She goes
and I am happy about it.
And you should be.
I am happy about
you should
it.
Be very proud of yourself.
It was not easy, guys. It really was not
some of us
easy.
are still trying to lose baby weight 7 years later, isn't it?
I'm trying rubbish. Find it as easier for others,
I mean, I can't lie. I was thinking about whether I felt pressure and stuff, but I didn't really feel the pressure. I just kind of took things one day at a time. I was definitely tempted to do like a 2-week shred after 6 months when I was like, okay, I want this to move on further. And that just was an epic fail because I was weaning her off baby milk and I was a walking zombie. So I just was like, I'm going to just walk. If it's walking, if it's doing 1 workout a week, I'm used to doing like 4 before Talia. And I definitely had a rude awakening realizing that you're not going to just slip back into what you used to do. That's just not going to be the case. But we made it work and we got there. Yeah. And I honestly didn't feel any pressure. And it feels good to have not done any stupid, crazy
fad diets.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think that those things are the best for our health. And I don't really think they work because what happens is you lose all the weight and then the weight comes back. What you are better off doing is something that is slow and steady progress. And to think it's been over a year, for me, that just makes me feel good. Yeah. Took my sweet time and it's nice to kind of,
Be proud of yourself, sis.
The body's not exactly the same, but that's just life and we just move.
That's motherhood.
That is motherhood. But did you guys feel like, did you feel any pressure after you had baby 1, baby
I definitely, I had Josiah at 27, so I definitely felt that pressure, very much so. The whole snapback culture, but I don't know if it was all on that. I'm very hard on myself, so I just had a standard I wanted for myself. But no, I wasn't. I gave myself like the first 5 months. I just ate what I wanted. Do you get what I mean? He was born in July, so then it was like January 2011. I was like, okay, right. Tighten up the belt. And even then, just like it was slow and steady. I used to work out once a week with you.
Yes.
At the gym and just being a bit more conscious of what I was eating. I definitely think my age played a part because the weight kind of, melted off quite fast. Do you understand what I mean? With Josiah. What I can say is I did, after about maybe 7 months, 8 months of that once a week, that's when I stepped it up, started going like 2-3 times a week once I had more flexibility to. Mum would come round to watch him or whatever, and that's when I stepped it up. But I noticed that even after a whole year, I didn't have the toning or the definition that I wanted. I had lost weight and I was slim, but there was a look that I wanted for my body, and then that's when I set myself that challenge to do Insanity. So for me, that was a big goal to have achieved that after him, and got my abs, so I felt great within myself. Joelle, a lot harder, different circumstance, different scenario, older, different health issues. All played a part. I definitely didn't have the same stress on myself though.
Did you not feel the same pressure? I
didn't. I was a lot kinder to myself after Joelle. Like, I guess that comes with maturity, having a real respect and reverence for my body and what it actually did. Do you get what I mean? What it's gone through. I lost the weight after Youre. I've kind of, it's life why my weight's yo-yoed up and down in the past 7 years. Nothing to do with baby, if I'm honest with you. Was it much harder to shift after Youre? 100%. It's been a lot, the journey's been a lot harder after Youre, but I can't put it down to her. We've spoken before, and I don't want to repeat myself, of health issues that Amph and I have, and I don't like to focus on them because I don't want to give it legs. I don't like to, do you know what I mean? But the reality is they create extra weight around the waistline. They create, you know what I mean? Like, we're fighting extra stuff that you might not experience. We already have a mountain ahead of us on top of the weight loss. Do you understand what I mean? But no, I don't really focus on that. Just, it is what it is.
Do you feel pressure, Annie?
No.
With 1, 2, or 3?
No pressure whatsoever.
With none of them?
No. I think baby number 1, it's started from a standpoint of me being probably at my slimmest anyway. So once I had the first, I didn't have that much to lose, because I think I lost so much at the start anyway.
Amph was tiny before.
Without going into it, I lost a lot, and I think it's the smallest I'd ever been in the longest time. But like I said before, didn't know I was pregnant, so that contributed to the weight loss. And then I think after Ty, it's not even so much because we use the word pressure. Obviously, I wasn't happy with how I looked, 100%. I wasn't under pressure, because what I had to juggle now, being a mother of 2 versus losing the weight in a short, it didn't compare, babe. Like, it wasn't that deep. I just knew that this weight, where I was, I didn't like how I looked, how I felt. I knew the weight would have to come off at some point, but I was not under any pressure to do it by a certain time. I had clothes in the wardrobe that I had accepted I may never get back in, but if I can still dress my body and still feel good, that would be okay for me. Then baby number 3, a lot older. So as Nat said, it's even harder now to shift. But I've just taken it at my own pace, Charles. I just refuse to succumb to the pressures of like what was happening on social media. I actually came off social media. I came off safeguarding yourself. I came off social media because it was starting to grate on me a bit, this whole, like Nat said, snapback culture. And I'm like, no, like, I want to just do it at my own pace. And, you know, I still want to enjoy the foods that I like. I think, yes, because of medical reasons, I should be more mindful of what I put in my body anyway. But it wasn't solely based on wanting to get back to the size 10. No, it wasn't. So in answer to your question, babe, no, I didn't put myself under any pressure. No.
That's good. I think that when you have a child, it might be different for some people, but there are definitely parts of your body that ain't never going to be the same. Yeah, they ain't never going to be the same. 100%. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? I'll start. Like, I guess for me.
For me?
Yeah, for me.
We should stop it.
1, 2, 3. For me. Guys, we're so stupid to know you. When we say that.
I know.
What else can we say?
I don't know.
Personally. I've actually been
you know, from my experience, there's actually other.
Do you know what there are?
Yeah, there's other words.
There are other words.
Yeah,
Sorry,
other
guys.
words.
Yo, let's expand our vocab.
Articulation. Go on, for me.
No, I'm not saying it. I have body parts that are not the same. And then there are parts that, like, you know, people always say, you know, you're going to have stretch marks and blah, 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 blah. That actually hasn't been my issue at all. Like, you just can't have everything, can you, ladies? The boobies were definitely sucked dry. And yep. And like Talia, she just went in. Like, they are just not the same, and they ain't never going to be the same.
Nope.
But I don't have the stretch marks. And, you know, I'm just accepting that this is how it is. Ladies, is there anything, Annie? How do you feel about the body parts that are not
okay,
the same?
So you're after 3.
Listen, so the body parts, essentially is the boobs.
I'm not making light of it because I know this is not.
Yeah.
No,
because it is a little bit of a, not even a little, it's a lot of a hang up.
Maybe I said it like it was like, but I guess I'm just anyway. Go on, Annie.
Like, it's there. That's the one area of my body that is not
What one area?
My boobs, that's what I said, the boobs. Yeah, it's not, they're not being exposed to no Tom, Dick or Leroy. No, seriously, they are not.
Say Tom, Dick or Leroy.
Like, it's not happening. I think motherhood, like pregnancy, motherhood, that whole, breastfeeding, even though I can't say I was ever a real, true ambassador of breastfeeding because I wasn't. It wasn't my portion. I did what I could for my little ones, but bottle feeding was what worked the best. But the time I did commit to doing breastfeeding, it wreaked havoc on what was already questionable babies.
I love the way Ellie's talking about it.
So yeah, babes, like the boobs for me are just, it's just I just felt, bras are for me a godsend.
Listen, a good bra, I have to big up Marks. Marks have let me down in other ways, but when it comes to bras, man, they don't fail me.
That's it. But in terms, and then the belly, the belly area. But again, smart dressing. That's what works for me in most cases.
And that makes you feel
It makes me feel, it makes me feel good. I think, I remember looking back at pictures where I could wear a slim fitted dress and I knew that there was no support underwear. I'm not going to lie. It's nice to reminisce, but it's just not my portion, babe. And there's good underwear out there, things that will... And again, I like comfort, to be fair. So I would opt for something other than a fitted dress because if it's going to make me feel uncomfortable, I'm not interested. But I'd say, boobs and belly. Everything else I can work with.
Fair enough.
Natalia.
Yes.
Natalie.
Do you know what? Yeah, you've said it, Shah. You can't have it all. You honestly cannot have it all. Like, my breasts were fine before Josiah. That day, that last day when that last bit of milk dried up, they were like two shriveled raisins. Like, I was just like
two shriveled raisins.
And I guess the age as well, being in your 20s. So there's something about being in your 20s and it's like, right,
is this what we're working with now? This is what
I'm working with now. Like, I'll go a step further, like being on top. Like, I'm just kind of looking down at them and just the way they just... I was just like, this is different. It took a minute.
But the hubby doesn't care.
He didn't care,
anyway.
but it's not about him. It's not about him. So yes, I can be honest, I didn't have... For me, like, I didn't have the whole stomach issues, no stretch marks, what tiny little tiger strap that was there isn't even worth talking about. Those areas weren't hard for me. What was hard was that with my breast, no matter how hard I worked in the gym, I couldn't change those. Yes, I definitely built up my pectoral muscles, my chest was toned, but my issue actually isn't the size though. It's just that there wasn't any fullness, no density. Like, so even a good bra, I'm being honest, was actually really hard. I didn't enjoy bra shopping at all. Like, because the cup still wasn't full. Like, I would be 20 bras later and they just didn't fit. So there's two areas actually after Josiah. Just enjoying bra shopping. I hated bra shopping. Lived in black underwear. Once I found like a certain black style of bra that just fit them right, I have 10 of them. Do you get what I mean? And bikinis, because I felt very imbalanced. I still had bottom, I still had thighs, my waist was slim, but my breasts actually, if you go by proportion of a body, my breasts weren't in proportion to the rest. So I wouldn't even buy sometimes expensive bra sets, bikini sets, because they sell it as a set. I'd go to places that I could mix and match and take, the size 8 top and the size 10 bottom or something like that, because buying the same size for both wasn't going to work. Like, and that wasn't fun. That wasn't enjoyable. So I didn't enjoy, bra shopping. I still don't really enjoy it that much. It's more of a convenience more than anything else. I don't. But I have to be honest, I've had to adjust that mindset. Because I think as a result of that, I was very mean to myself for a long time. I just wore a bra because I needed to. I didn't adorn myself. And obviously, black underwear is never going to look terrible. But I definitely enjoyed underwear shopping way more prior to him and bought nicer underwear, but it was like nothing fits, doesn't look the way it used to. So it took me a minute to get my head around that change of, well, it doesn't look the way it used to. Yeah, so, but you should still treat yourself and buy something nice. So yeah, after him, I was affected. After Joelle, I wasn't as much, no. But I had already said from before that I potentially would go and get my breast done. So I kind of was in my mind thinking, once I have her, if they are any worse or whatever, then I'll wait till I've had all my kids and then I'll go and do my breast. So that was always, because I think the hardest thing for me is I'm someone who will work for what I want. And it was just the fact that I've lived in the gym and I couldn't change them. I couldn't do anything about them. So yeah, the thought of doing something definitely crossed my mind.
I mean, you just threw that in like it was nothing. I'm not gonna lie.
It was nothing, but
I was not happy with you wanting to do that.
Anti. But for me, like I said, it was just the fact that I can't change these. I can bench press up, do all. I can't change these, and it was, like I said, I think it was just that balance. I wanted to feel as balanced. I want to look like that girl on the beach. Do you get what I mean? Like, do you know what it was? It was my 30th birthday, just before Josiah. And I remember I bought so much bikinis for my 30th to go away. And I just remember how I shrank, like, at home, trying on all of them, and nothing fit right. Like, the top just didn't fit right. Or it had to be underwide or padded a certain way. Like, it is not a look, guys, to put in a bikini and there is gaping. Like, that is just, that is not
I actually bought a lovely one the other day from Tesco. It fits perfectly.
Yeah, they didn't they just didn't fit.
Not fitting,
and
not nice.
I remember just eventually out of like 8 bikinis, I think I had two new bikinis for my 30th birthday, and I was just like, this sucks. It was just, and I'm young. So I think at the time, my age played a part, my esteem, how I felt about myself. I can say that. I'm in a different space now, I'm 38, but at that age, to know that this is a permanent change from such a young age, I think that's a lot of young people, or people that can relate to that, knowing that you're never gonna, like, I think I only started growing breasts, like, I wasn't a really early bloomer, so they probably started growing and were decent of anything to look at. That was like 15, 16. Did you think I had 10 years of breasts? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm just gonna slightly flip it on its head though.
Yeah.
So we've all just sat here and I've said, boobs. All three of us.
That's actually
boobs.
Yeah.
But like, where did these beauty standards come from? Like why is it that we want that perky?
See, I didn't say perky.
Okay.
I just wanted to fill a cup, bro.
Well, I'm talking for me. I'll talk for myself.
I weren't even talking perky. I just wanted to be able to
I know. I'll talk for myself then. And you say how it is for you. But even the fact that is what is always in front of us.
Yeah.
Those are the images that I see. I always see these perfectly looking, perky breasts. Obviously, it's natural to want your body to be how it used to be.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was very lashed recently when I was listening to, shout out to big mum and black mums up front, and they were having a talk about beauty, and they shared that there's an African tribe where they actually like the women more with saggy boobs. The women try to make their boobs saggier.
Wow.
And that just literally threw me. I was just like, so there is a place right now. The truth is, these beauty standards or whatever these desires all come from something. So for all we know, that was created by a man. Men have fed those women to believe that is more beautiful. So there's always a root. But even for us in this Eurocentric place, Europe, in these European standards, that is the image that has been placed in front of us. And so we find ourselves wanting to have that image.
I agree with you. We can only go by what we've seen. So there is obviously a root to it. But I can only speak for myself. I wasn't trying to create something I didn't have. I was just trying to
restore what you already had.
Yeah, I was just trying to restore.
I've never had it. So
yeah, I didn't have them. I just perkiest, but they sat there. They were just in a good position. Yeah, their mind were never like droopy, or they just. So, I definitely looked at other girls who had the ones that stuck up to the sky and admired, never had a big cleat. I never had huge breasts. So
yeah, but what if you saw the images of, even though you were trying to restore, what if you had seen
it could have changed my
images of that was normal? There's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful.
I think it comes down to, for me anyway, like clothing.
For you,
for me. Yeah, it comes down to clothing. So I've never had I've got breasts, they're quite full. And even after my last, I expected them once like the baby weight started to, you know, come down, that my breasts would, but I'm actually apparently, according to M&S, the same bra size that I was when I was pregnant with my third.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And so I've never had a cleavage, so they're just full. So, and I've never been a breast person anyway. So,
boobies on show.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So it's not to say that I deliberately wear low cut tops and I want everybody to see what I'm carrying. It's not that, but I think there's been times where I want to wear a top. That's not necessarily low cut, but it could be low back. And it requires you not to wear a bra. Mm-hmm. So then when you're walking and you're just feeling these things, like it's just not, and it's purely not because I want it. That's the thing. I don't even want them to be on show. It's what I'd like to do something backless. And it's the opposite. Yeah. And then so in that instance, Shaz, I would like to have breasts that were a little bit more upstanding, as it were. But it's just not my portion. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Yes, it has crossed my mind. If there was an opportunity would I? Yes, I have considered having a lift, you know, because I think maybe when I then look in the mirror, even in my underwear or not in my underwear as it may be, I would feel like, but it's because I think I've carried breast issues from early.
It's always
early. It's from early.
Is that still how you feel? Is it something that you actually? It's a little thought there, but is it something that you actually know? I actually would.
Not now. I've just accepted them for what they are. Do you know what I mean? I can't.
Okay, so do you like them?
No.
So then you do still have issues.
Yeah, I still have issues. I'm not denying that. Yeah. But I don't think I care enough to go...
do anything. Oh, okay.
Yeah, to do anything about it. Yeah. I just think there's ways around it.
But see, my thing, I want you to get to the point where you actually like them. You can't look at me like that. This is the thing. I want you to get... I just would love you to get to a point where it's just like, no, they're beautiful. You said you accept Amp, but actually, can you accept without fully embracing and liking, or is it? Do you think you can? I guess you can accept it that this is just how it is, but not like
embracing are two different things.
Yeah. But I want her to embrace.
Don't need to embrace them, babes. Seriously, I can embrace my elbows. I can embrace my knees. But yeah, it's all right. As long as they're healthy too. That's the thing. They're healthy.
Yes. That's the biggest part.
So yeah, I'm not budging on that. It is what it is.
My stance is, let me go last. Go nuts. Would you still do that now?
But you know that life throws some different type, little hurdles and obstacles that really change my thought and my perception on it. But I'm someone, if I really wanted to do something, I'd do it. And Joel 7, if I really, really wanted to have done it, I would. I did go to do it. I was booked in to do it. And the opportunity just didn't present itself. I wasn't able to do the op on the date that was agreed because there was no childcare. Charlene was very happy. I changed it and it happened again. And I'm a firm believer. I definitely feel like sometimes, things happen that and I was like, something doesn't feel right about this for this moment. So, and I was very conscious of the fact that I don't think she was one. So I knew how physically demanding it was going to be on me to still care for her afterwards, and the time I needed afterwards, and how reliant I would have been on everyone else. So I knew it wasn't the best time, but I definitely wanted it, and I was ready to do it. 100% ready to do the operation. Money was there, and it didn't happen. And then life, it just that the time I knew I would have needed out to recover, just did not present itself again after that. Just with whether it's Anthony's work or then my work, didn't present itself. And as time went on, I'm working out, and I guess I'm forced to just love and embrace, like you're saying, what I actually look like. And it didn't bother me that much. It really was just, I couldn't change them. It was that thought in my mind that no matter how hard I work on these, I can't get them back to what they were. But then I guess once I just realised, the acceptance of, well, it's okay for them to not look how they did. Do you get what I mean? Going on Amp's thing, wearing the right clothing and stuff like that, it is frustrating with certain clothes. So unlike Amp, I definitely wore the backless top and no bra. Do you understand what I mean? Before, like, I loved that I could wear certain summer tops, and now I can't do that. It was, it was hard. But fast forward to this year, February, found a breast lump, as you guys know. And initially they told me it was benign, but the breast lump continued to grow and doubled in size. They removed the breast lump, and only when they removed it, they found precancerous cells. And I sit now and I think, but if I had an implant in there, would I have ever found that lump? You know? So my standpoint on it, and this is not against anybody who has implants. This is not a bashing session or a critique. This is our own just personal opinions for what works for us. Like, for me, I can only say, you know what, we really need to stop saying to me. In my experience now, having looked back, I'm very grateful that the opportunity didn't present itself. But I actually know deep down it didn't bother me enough, because I'm someone who just would go and do it. I'm just being honest. It didn't bother me enough. I was content with working on what I could change and working with what isn't the best, in my opinion. And that's what I did. But even more so now, so grateful. Like, I would admit and say I'm quite an anxious person. So naturally, my mind can't help but I'm such a what if person, and it's not a great state of mind to be in, because you're always kind of playing back past events, and they didn't go that way. But I can't help but say to myself, but what if I had done it? Or what if, would I have ever found that lump? It's a whole conversation that I don't even want to talk about, don't want to entertain. I just thank the Lord that I found it. It's been removed. Means I have to get checkups every year from here on out, so be it. Like,
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. But, you talk about them being healthy. Mine weren't healthy. Do you understand what I mean? As small as they were,
talk about
it was just a random Friday, and I'm like, and that brings on a whole different topic, whether you even want to talk about that, Shah, about taking, really checking yourself, and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And I do it, but not regularly to that extent.
I don't do it like I need to
and I did, and I'm like, there's a lump there, like, and I always do it, and I feel a bit like a welly.
Admittedly, when Nat went through what she went through, I remember her giving me pointers on how, like in the shower,
or just after
lying down.
She technically do it a week after your period. So it's actually a specific time. And I don't know if that's based on your hormones, because I think when you're hormonal, because your breast can be more lumpy around your period time, so it's a week after your period, and then it's meant to begin in the shower, and it's like starts from like up in your armpit, across your chest, and it's like a circular motion the whole way around in your breast. Then you move onto the bed. Once you're dried, you then lie down and do it on the bed. It should take about 10 minutes.
So the video, the link you sent me, the link.
And we're not taught this as young women.
No, we're not taught. And the thing is, I know why I struggle with it, because I have a lot of breast tissue. And then there was something that you said to me around that time, like you said, Amph, do you know your body? And I went,
no, because you don't actually check them, feel them, don't really pay them much attention.
So I couldn't tell you what. So I
think that is the only bonus, because mine are smaller, so that lump was very prominent and foreign. Do you understand what I mean? As a result, now I've had to deal with a whole new level of, I guess in some sense, esteem issues, because they had to remove lump and breast tissue. So they did an amazing job, but there is a significant amount of tissue removed compared to the other one. Do you get what I mean? But would I go and do any surgery right now? No. Like, it is what it is. I can be honest and say, though, it's very easy when you're in a loving relationship and the person accepts you for who you are. I have thought about how would I move forward if ever anything happened to him, or in a new relationship. That for me is very daunting, to allow someone else to see me, even though they honestly look fine, but I know that there's that scar now, that and
how they were before,
and someone loving and accepting me in this it's a lot. Like, yeah, that's, I thought those things.
I have to agree and say that, like...
So, sorry to cut you. So when you say embracing, that's a big task you're asking, you know, because I shouldn't even have that worry then if something was that, because it's like, this is me, I love me regardless whether you... No, it's daunting. That is a very scary thought for me. Do you get what I mean? Obviously, it's not something I have to worry about, but it's just for someone to show myself to someone new. It's been a lot easier that I'm in a relationship with someone who's just, you know, but to meet someone new, and
I think it's because we've got subconsciously these set standards.
that's what it goes back to what you said, Sha.
Because there are different shapes.
They're meant to be all different shapes and sizes,
But there are. What do you mean they're meant to be? There are loads.
I know,
of
but
shapes and sizes.
they're meant to be,
and they're all meant to be embraced.
Beautiful.
And
But
okay, I'm just gonna. I think my situation is this. I've had a daughter, and I think she has just changed so much for me because I fully have gone online and looked up. How does a breast lift look? Let me have a look. And was there a time when I was looking into it? I would never booked anything. I'd never. You know, I did say, Chris, let's have a look at this. But I think when I think about her, I would never do it. I would never get a breast lift because I don't want Talia to ever be like, my mommy, you didn't embrace yours. So why should I want her to embrace herself fully. And it's not do as I say, it's do as I do. Yeah. So I want her to see what a body looks like after you have kids and know that it's beautiful. And also, you both have sons, and I think it's so important for us as mothers to let our sons see bodies. Like I think that that's a really, really powerful thing, so that when your son and when your son's older and they get married or have children, that they love their wives. No matter, it starts from now. I just think that whole thing is so important, and I want her to love. And I guess for me, it is different, and I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I just adore them. Yes, I will admit that having a husband who doesn't seem to care and love them definitely helps. However, you know, when people used to say stuff like, why do you do your hair like that? Or why do you work out? It's not for my husband, it's for me. Anything I do in terms of, he just gets the benefit from it. It all starts here with me. And so I guess I'm still on that journey, but I'm really passionate about really learning to embrace me because I'm thinking about her.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm her role model. I'm the one she's looking up to, and I just want her to just love herself, man.
Yeah, I agree with you.
She could grow up and not have perky boobs. They just could be saggy. And mine weren't that perked. Like, I don't want her to feel, and it's because that's what we see the most of. And so it's for us to, you know, affirm our children and to let them know that this is actually okay. I just think even in today's society, that whole Instagram, social media for young girls and just young people in general, it's a lot, guys. That whole Kim Kardashian, the bum implants. Guys, it's a lot.
I was thinking that having pets.
Sorry?
Guys get their bums done as well. Like, it's not just a girl thing. Men want their bottoms to look a certain way, their pecs to look a certain way. Their abs, like...
Whew. I didn't know that. I didn't. Why would I not think that? That's not just women.
Hair issues, so men there's a lot more transplant. Obviously, there's women that are doing that a lot more now, you know. But men have their hang-ups as well.
And I think as well, as much as it seems to be, the focus is more on females.
Men are doing it.
Yeah, men are doing it. Men are doing it. And I believe that men also have insecurity issues 100%. As well. It's just that it's not spoken about as much. It's not such an open subject as say it is like with women. So yeah.
I mean
technically, do you see teeth? Do you see teeth as cosmetic surgery?
Yeah, I would say.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, I've done Invisalign to restore my teeth back to what they were prior to children. No, I haven't got veneers or anything like that, but that's cosmetic because you're changing an aesthetic. You've enhanced, like...
I don't know, there's something in my head.
There's levels.
Going under an aesthetic, having an implant. I just don't like the idea of something thrown on the body.
Veneers, where they shave down their teeth and then put all new... that's cosmetic surgery, because you're completely removing your teeth in that sense and putting. I haven't done that. I just straightened what I had.
I don't know.
I
That's
wouldn't
a
do.
lot.
I personally wouldn't do
not for
veneers,
me.
and I think it's because I just seen the picture of how they look like shark teeth underneath. To know that my teeth have been filed down to those points,
I think for me it's just pain.
Yeah,
I think there are limits.
The trauma of the last childbirth for me.
Anything that adds more pain and discomfort,
I'm all right. Seriously, I can forego.
I don't know. It feels different to me.
What teeth? But it is cosmetic.
It just feels different. Me being sliced open and all the skin chopped off and sewn back up, that just feels blood being drawn. It just feels different to me.
The main reason that I will say it before, because it's not just my breasts. Obviously, when I was younger, I had other insecurities. I think the main thing that stopped me from ever doing anything, and I always said it to Anthony, what if I had a child who had the same thing that I didn't like? And then how would I encourage you? You see your child as beautiful. Do you know what I mean? You don't see flaws in your kids. You really don't. And it's like you see all of their beauty. You see, because that's what unconditional love looks like. And I thought, well, how would I encourage my child? I remember thinking, how would I encourage my child to embrace this particular thing when I think they're beautiful, when I had gone and done surgery for that? Do you get what I mean? And that's actually what always stopped me. Even before breast, there was other things. I can remember I was younger, I hated my mole. And I used to say, when the moment I'm old enough, I'm going to cut it off. Do you understand what I mean? Obviously I haven't had a child that's had a mole, but I had a very distinguishing mark on my face. Do you understand what I mean? And then I didn't like my nose. But I thought, but what if my child has my nose? How do I tell my child because I'll be like, but you got mummy's nose, and it's like, well, they don't have mummy's nose. I changed my nose. So that is actually what really did always stop me from ever going and doing anything further. And I knew that the insecurity was never that deep. It was never that deep. There was something there, and it's definitely from beauty standards, but it was never deep enough for me to ever go and do it. And from such a young age, I always had that mindset. If I change it and I have a kid, how do I encourage them to look? And I knew I would think they're beautiful. I'd want to encourage them on that, but I'd have to let them do the same thing.
Yeah. When I said before, I didn't want to make light of it, because I know there are people that might be listening that are like, you like acting like this is just easy. I have dealt with such and such for how, but there is something so beautiful about coming to a place of acceptance. And I do think it's a journey. And I remember you saying before now that, well, I know it. When you fill yourself with toxic words about yourself, that's how you're going to feel. I remember we were saying, what advice would we give? You have to speak. Yeah. Speak that life and that positive. And it all sounds so flippant because you see the memes. Just be positive. No, this is not a flippant thing. Speak it. When you speak that over yourself, you will believe what you tell yourself. Yeah. Honestly, you will believe it. And I think, just to add and push the conversation further, you two are both dark-skinned Black women. Colorism is a thing. Skin lightening is a massister thing.
Never crossed my mind ever.
Do you feel like you've ever felt any kind of way about being darker skinned? Annie?
No. I think the only thing that I can think of.
Do you know how nice it is to hear that response? I love it.
I've never felt like, I'm too dark. I think the only thing that I used to associate with being darker skinned from being younger was the whole hair, but not understanding it's got nothing to do with if you're dark. That was just my naivety. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's what light skin, long hair. That's actually was a thing.
Okay.
So you didn't.
So it wasn't my naivety. Okay, but then
But there definitely are darker skinned women who have that silkier texture, but typically in front. I remember in school was a lot of the mixed race.
Yes, light skinned was mixed race. You know, and it came with a certain hair type. So that's where that came from.
But for myself, no, I can't say that I've ever looked at my skin color and thought I wish I was lighter. No.
See, I didn't wish I was lighter.
It's not about just wishing you were lighter, though, just ever feeling any kind of way about it. But that's great that you haven't.
Nice. I didn't wish I was lighter, but I definitely, when I was younger, thought
was aware
you were prettier. You were more light because of your complexion or whatever. 100% when I was younger. And it's not because nothing, but I can't remember.
Pinpoint anything specific.
It's nothing mummy or daddy did or anything like that. I just felt like Charlene was the pleasing or the one that was like, I don't know, maybe there are a few moments. Actually, I can recall a few different instances and then thinking, is it because I'm just not as cute or I'm not like Charlene? And you're not even like, that's the joke. But I definitely know I did have some sort of dark skin issues because like one of the things I remember I didn't wear colour on my lips when I was younger. Like you could never get me to wear a red or an orange or I'm too dark for that. So actually I definitely had some sort of dark skin hang up, and that was fed through socials, through media, 100%. That's something we were told, dark skin women, actually we can wear it all. Like actually everything suits our complexion. It's so deep.
Imagine the flip.
The brightest colours bang against our complexion. Do you get what I mean? But that is not what I was fed as I was younger. So I remember like even seeing dark skinned women with red lipstick and thinking they look like clowns because that wasn't the norm. Do you understand what I mean? Definitely being aware I was dark because it wasn't easy to buy makeup. I didn't enjoy. So I can...
Thank God for Fenty.
Yeah, that's a long way down the road. The first brand I used was Sleek.
She has so many.
Sleek literally just made me red. I literally was just red. That's that. The darker it went, the redder it went. And then I moved on to Bobbi Brown. Bobbi Brown made me look ashy. I was just very ashy. So that was the awareness. So I didn't have an issue with my skin, but I was aware that my complexion was not easy. Because I like to wear makeup, I was experimenting with makeup and certain things did not look good. When I look back at those pictures, I look like a ghost when I used to wear Bobbi Brown. Do you get what I mean? Like it didn't help that I was going through the contacts phase as well. So I wore the grey contacts too. The hazel one's not too bad, but there's pictures where I've got the grey face and the and then the grey eyes. It was not a look, guys. It was not a look. But that's my point. That's when it's moments like that I was aware I'm dark. And then I remember when you're young and everyone kind of the whole phase of the tattoo thing was going on. And I said it out of my mouth. I was like, I'd never get a tattoo because I'm too dark. It wouldn't show. That's actually why I never did get one, because in my mind I was too dark for a tattoo, and that's why I didn't do it. So I definitely had colorism hang-ups. It doesn't help that obviously I went to a mixed school, 4 of us like a guy and being passed over by that guy for the two light-skinned friends. Do you get what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, it switched. And I mean, it was just 1 minute it was all about light skins and next minute it switched. And I feel like it's never ever switched back. You like what you like, but very much, there is an appreciation for dark skin and brown skin guys or girls now, and it's been going on for a long time. But yeah, I remember being overlooked because I was dark skinned, and then a couple of years later bumping into those same guys, and it's like all of a sudden the cataract has been moved from their eyes, and it's like, and I'm like, I don't do second best. You did not like me before. You literally passed me by and it's like, yeah, I experienced those things. I can recall the guys, the moments, you know what I mean? And they went for, even though they liked me, liked my character, everything, but went for my friends who were light skinned.
It wasn't seen as to be.
No, you didn't go for the dark skinned girl. And do you know what I mean? And we're not even that dark.
I remember actually going to college, and I don't necessarily see myself as dark-skinned. I don't see myself as necessarily light-skinned either. I'm just...
I always call you brown skin.
Yeah, it's brown, isn't it?
Yeah. But brown skin, it's so...
Yeah, it's shades.
Yeah, it's so shades. You're literally... You're a shade of green. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Dark skin. I'll just let you be, yeah.
No, but we wouldn't be. She wasn't classed as dark.
No, but let me say, in college... We just started. I was very excited to be with the man then because I'd come from a girls' school, and they had this list.
Wow.
And it was the best hair, the best light-skinned girl, the best dark-skinned girl, the girl with the best legs, blah, blah. And so someone came to me and was like, Shah, have you seen the list? You're on the list. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to see that. So I saw this list and I was like, huh? Just don't make sense.
What section? You weren't in best hair, were you? What section?
No, I was the prettiest dark skin girl.
Yeah, you're
and I was like, dark skin. And you know what? I'll be honest, I was offended.
Wow.
And I only realized this years later, the offense that I was like, what do you mean dark skinned? I took it and and I remember the guy was like, well, that makes sense. I was just like, but I'm not dark skinned. He was like, compared to who? I actually remember the guy who did this list, and he was so matter of fact about it. First of all, he was just like, aren't you just happy you're on it? Like, you're a pretty girl in it. Like, just be happy you're on it. I was like, but I'm not dark-skinned. And he was like, yeah, but compared to who though? Compared to who? Who are you comparing yourself to? Like, and I don't think I realised that I actually had something niggling. That to me, dark skin had been rendered the most unpopular.
Never defined yourself.
I'd never defined myself.
You never saw yourself in that category as what would be classed as an unpopular category. That's the reality
it's
of
not
it.
actually cool. But yeah. Now I wouldn't care. I mean, if you call me dark skinned, dark skin's gorgeous. I still wouldn't refer to myself as darker skinned, but man, dark skinned is just beautiful.
100%.
Beautiful. So, ladies, if you were going to give some advice to someone, is there anything that we haven't said that you would say in terms of just getting to a place of, I know we're still on our own journeys, but getting to that place of self-acceptance? This is very multi-layered because the whole beauty standards, we could be unpacking this forever because there are just some things, even like you said about the teeth now, it's like, where do you draw the line really? Because to me, I if my teeth were crooked, I've had braces when I was younger.
Well, I 100%.
And I do kind of still want to get Invisalign just to get them now.
I don't know if I would be as pressed if they were just that way, but they moved after children. So it was like, this is not my smile. And I definitely had a complex over it. I didn't like smiling anymore. It affected guys.
Your confidence.
3 months I would not be here. I would not be here on this pod if my teeth weren't straight. I'm just being honest with you. It really bothered me. I didn't like talking on camera because I was like, that is not my mouth. That is not my teeth. Like,
your teeth were perfect.
That person? So
pregnancy did that.
That's changed them.
Mad.
So that's why you get free dental care, babe. That's
my
exactly why a lot of women go through it.
Mainly what happened, I had to get 2 teeth removed. And obviously there was gaps. So with the gaps, the teeth started to swing to the left. Like they just sway to the right, to the left. And I'm just like, what are these? They move so badly. And when I look back at videos and pictures now, I say all the time, you got a bad mind. Like none of you lot told me that my grill was looking that way. I'm like, whose mouth is that? That just wasn't my teeth. And I didn't have braces. So I think it did affect my esteem because like I didn't wear them at that age when everybody can relate to having to go through that. I remember asking the dentist for a brace for like 1 tooth that was like, and he just laughed in my face. He was like, oh, you're not getting a brace to move that 1 tooth slightly. Like, so you'd have to do it. How old was I? It was 2018. So a few years ago, but it's the best thing I ever did. Like, and it really restored my confidence and I needed that. So, but it is technically classed as something cosmetic, like, and it's something that changed after children and I've restored it back, Shah. Do you understand what I mean? But I think my biggest advice, back to your question, it's so cliche, but it really is love the skin that you're in and appreciate what your body does for you. I read something the other day and it says so much time to focus on these like changes that our body's done if we actually sat down and really appreciated what our bodies do, even on a daily basis.
Daily.
With a girl, I did the teaching course the other day and a young girl was there, a pretty girl, and she was talking about how she'd been bullied from she was young in school, and it's like, how were you? She's like, I got bullied for my ears, I got bullied for this, and as a result I have mental health issues and stuff like that. And she said, I've had to reach a place where if someone even says something about my ears, I'm like, but I can hear though. She said I had to get so matter of fact about the purpose of what. So it's like if someone tried to make a joke about it, it's like, but I can hear, they're for hearing. So I love my ears because they function. I can hear with them. And she literally had to start telling herself, like someone make a comment about her lips, but my lips, but I can eat. I've got a mouth to eat. I can taste. And she had to be, and I feel like some people might have to go, as far back to basics as that. You dislike your legs, but you can walk. They're functional. You can run. You can, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, even when we talk about our breasts, it's like being appreciative. They did what they did for our children, our stomachs. this housed your baby.
Yeah.
Like, if you actually really
actually
did the
big.
amazing thing that your body did for you, be proud of it. But it's not something that comes easily and it doesn't happen overnight. You actually have to be intentional in speaking it over yourself and telling yourself. And I believe that, like you said, your words have power. Tell yourself something negative, you believe it. So tell yourself something positive, you'll start to believe it. And that's my, what I would say to somebody if you're really struggling with an area. So stand in the mirror and tell yourself on a daily basis, no, why am I being looked at? Go on. Like, I love my breasts. Try it. Actually try it and see if your opinion on them changes.
Oh, I'll get back to you.
I just have to add one thing to the boob thing. What also really helped me is, do you know that Talia, she's still so obsessed with them. God have mercy.
That's just because she just can't.
But her innocence, though, no, seriously, the innocence of a child, she's not tainted. When we get older, we get jaded.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand that these. All she knows is that she just loves these.
Yeah.
They fed her.
My
she's
children
still.
laugh at mine.
Do you hide them though?
No, not with the girls.
Oh.
No.
So you don't let Mari see?
Hell no.
Okay, see, Josiah sees me the same way. If he turns up in my room, I do not cover myself. Like, it's just, so he's definitely.
And that stems from being how I was brought up as well. It's very much.
Hide.
Not even hide, like the males,
see the males,
the females.
That in our home. So do you think that's right or wrong? Slightly off topic, but that's interesting.
That's another conversation, babes. That's another
No, but I think there are
conversation.
parents that don't approve, like in your children seeing you and whatever else.
I think it's just like I said, it's just
what you've repeated. Whereas Anthony, it's funny because he saw your mum. He doesn't say that. So you didn't see your dad, but he says he saw your mum. But he didn't grow up. He made it clear, not in a very free. Whereas he's very much adapted to my life.
Our house was free, boy.
Free.
You guys
the
have
body.
said.
There was no body shame. There was nothing shameful because it's your body. So yes, in fact, it reached the age where we were like, "Hey, Daddy, can you put? We're older now. We're the ones that are because that's because you get that awareness, and it's like, Daddy, can you please go and put some clothes on? Like, do you know what I mean? No, it's true. No, but it's true. But the point is, there's nothing shame. The society in the world has put the shame on the actual naked body.
Yeah,
there's nothing shameful about the naked body. But we see it as we've sexualized it. We've done all of these things, but the actual body in itself, like, you
and
know
the
what I'm
function
saying?
of it,
And the function
you talking
of it.
about what it does.
Yeah. But
the thing is, when I say they laugh, they find them fascinating.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like,
This kid.
Tyler the other day got my bra and put it behind her.
Joelle told me, and she's trying to enhance her bottom.
So I was like, you put my bra by your bottom. I just...
Where Joelle will put my bra in the place it's meant to go and dress up. And that's what kids do.
And Joelle really likes to see me naked.
Like, she has an appreciation for bodies.
She really does. She's like, Auntie Yaya, aren't you going to get changed? I'm like, oh God.
Well, she's just used to seeing you.
But you know what? I like the
freedom.
The innocence, the freedom. I want her to see this is normal. There's nothing wrong here.
Like, if I say anything about myself, Josiah's offended. If I was to even say I'm fat or I'm, Josiah's like, you're fat, like, he gets upset because he says he doesn't see anything wrong with how I am. Like, he doesn't see...
And you know what happened when I was pregnant, when Granddad tried to say, Auntie Yaya's got fat now. I remember Joelle was like, she's not fat, she's pregnant.
Yeah, like,
Granddad, she's not fat. And he was just winding her up. She's like, she's not fat, she's pregnant. She was just defending me, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that self-awareness.
Yeah.
She's like, Auntie looks fine.
It's deep. I don't know. Like, I hate general anesthetic. I am not putting myself to sleep for fun. That's just me personally. That is so if I strip it right back, that is more than anything. Even though I can't even say the desire has fully gone away, because I'd be a lie if I said that, because there's still that part of me that would like them to, and I know that it's actually accessible to me, but the desire is that small in comparison to the thought of putting myself voluntarily, like, going to a doctor and saying,
but that's the thing, it's that whole thing of like we know people, do you know what I mean? And then we think of what they looked like prior, and then to us
they were fine. Yeah,
but there's obviously something
what they see, and you can't,
and you can't.
I can't change the lens that you see yourself under, but. Yeah, I do think there's a fine line. I know for me, it would have been an enhancement or a restoration. There's a difference. I just think it's such a...
Oh, yeah, I do agree.
It's, you know, and
it can become obsession.
The fun, and I can prove this because the first cosmetic place I went to, I got in an argument with the surgeon because of what he basically was trying to tell me what he wanted. And I'm like, I don't want my breasts to look like that. But he was all about up there, you know, he wanted a certain... How are you going to tell me what cup size I must have? Like, I just wanted them to be fuller. They didn't have to sit perky. I just wanted them to fill a bra and feel more comfortable in certain clothing. That was all it was. And what made me not go with him, he's very, very conceited. He was arrogant as well. I felt like he was the type of surgeon, under the knife, I'm asleep, he'd just put in what he wants because it was about him getting gratification for his work. He's the type of person that would pull it in and be like, I don't like this. I think she looks better with this, and put in what he wants. And I wasn't able to take that chance. Like, he was so arrogant. Wow. And then I found another doctor, and just so humble. And I explained what I was going for, and he had all these examples, and he's all about it just looking... It's about enhancing how you feel and not changing or altering. He's a different type of doctor. So I definitely found someone I felt comfortable and at peace with. It just didn't happen. And I'm grateful, you know, for the way life has turned out since. I'm grateful. But yeah, I do sit and think about it sometimes. In not getting them done, just how I would look in certain stuff. Like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm imbalanced. I'm just imbalanced. It's just the way that it goes. Do you get what I mean? Like, there's less up top than there is on the bottom. And it wasn't always like that. As grandma says, accept the change of your life. That's my grandma's line. Accept the changes in your life. And I think the biggest thing is acceptance. We don't like to accept changes. Majority of people don't like to accept change. And they're always trying to go back.
Ooh, you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @3mums, except for Instagram, which is 3_mums. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. I have so many questions.